All right, Joey, I know that you're eager to talk about your RV Cousin Eddie today and the passive income report, and I didn't allow you to get it in until the very end, right? So if you're not watching live and you're not going through this on YouTube, you won't get to see the numbers for Cousin Eddie unless you stick around to the end. So I'm going to let you come to that, Joey. But
Okay.
first, I just got back from Orlando, right? And I think it's perfect for RV lead-in, right? RV, short space, small area, right? You basically own a bus.
Yes.
Well, we're on a bus ride back from Universal Studios with my family and, 40 other families, right? My little son, Ryan, who is the center of attention anywhere he goes, is over there doing pull-ups on the stand-up arm straps, the little straps that they have. So that way, if you're having to stand, you can hold on to it. He's doing pull-ups and he gets in a conversation with this guy that's standing next to him. And the guy's like, where'd you go today? What did you do? And he's like, what was the most fun ride? And he's telling him. And then he said, what else was pretty cool or funny about today? And the guy says, what? And he goes, my dad was farting all day.
Well,
now, bear in mind, one, he was using my arm to make fart noises in the line at the Haggard's like motorbike ride at Harry Potter World.
Yes.
For 30 minutes, right? And he had, of course, every dude in the lines laughing. The women are like, oh, that's so disgusting. I can't believe it, But my girls are laughing at it, right? And he's just having the best time. So when he tells the bus guy that dad has been farting the whole day, he has also gained the attention of everybody before he said this. So like he's like center stage. The guy's like, well, what was your best time? Everybody's all tired from their day. And so nobody's talking. And there's this little kid who's doing pull-ups. And he's like, my dad has been farting all day.
Oh, how small did you shrink?
I'm like, thanks, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, it was fine. My daughter covered for me, said, no, it wasn't him. But I can only imagine as someone who's renting an RV that, farts are a part of the deal. So really quickly,
part of the
I want
great
you
outdoors.
to tell me about the RV so we can lead into this passive income report for September of 2021.
Well, I don't want to give it all away, but I can just say, to me, this is the most exciting part of the report because it was a way for us to go on a trip as a family to enjoy time together in our own space. We didn't have to rent somebody else's. We bought our own because I was thinking about passive income. All right. So this whole report should represent that to us, right? Like every one of these strategies, we didn't just say, hey, we really like short-term rentals. Let's just do that. We said, how can we make short-term rentals passive? Because you and I can't afford to have another active business. Well, this Cousin Eddie, my RV, which, by the way, go to overlandadventurerentals.com and you can check it out. But Cousin Eddie is an example of me thinking passively and saying, I want to go on this trip. I want to buy an RV. I want to have it for future travel. But what do I do with it in the meantime? I could just store it and pay it as another liability. Or I can partner with somebody who already has a business that rents RVs and say, hey, let's work out a deal to where you can have another, piece of arsenal in your fleet, and I can get some income in the process to help pay for it, and subsequently an income that didn't exist before. So this is new income on the report from something that has been a special trip for my family and will continue to be one of those things. So that's what got me stoked about this month's passive income report.
I love it. All right, let's jump in. We got a lot of numbers to cover. This is a long episode. It always is because we're just talking about us the whole time. So, we get long-winded, but bear with us. I hope you enjoy our passive income report for September 2021.
Welcome to the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast, your guide to understanding how to get out of the Wall Street rat race and start your own mailbox money lifestyle. Now, don't let these handsome Southern draws fool you. These financial minds are teaching our country to enhance savings, increase cash flow, and create passive income, all without the help of Wall Street. Are you ready to break through? Now here are your hosts, Russ Morgan and Joey Murray.
Welcome back to September 2021's Passive Income Report. This is a highlight for us. Russ and I have made it a point now for how many months now, Russ? It's been over a year. What are we at?
So we
15
started
months?
in July of 2020. So however many months that is, I'm not good with math. Math is hard. Was that 16 months, I think?
Yeah, but regardless of that, the point is we wanted to create a consistent place for you to get feedback real time from people who are taking action. And we're not the sharpest guys in the world. You already know that if you listen to us for any amount of time. But it is possible to create massive amount of passive income if you just know who you are as an investor and you take massive action in that direction. So hopefully this inspires you. We're not here to brag. We're here to share, as Russ and I like to say, from one beggar to another beggar where the bread is. And hopefully you'll find a lot of bread in this month's report.
So this past week, Joey, when I was out, were you like reading a lot of books on how self-deprecating, humor will help you be more appealing to the listener? Like you're really sandbagging yourself and me this whole intro.
No, I did not do any of that reading. I was too busy handling all your crap all week. No,
thank you, by the way. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I don't know if you noticed, did you happen to send me an email and see my autoresponder?
Yes, I saw that. I'm out of the office. That means Joey has to do some work. I was like, wow, thanks a lot, Russ.
It was so good. How about my have an amazing day? I am.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that.
All right. So we're looking at a bunch of numbers here. If you're not watching this, you got to switch over to YouTube at some point and go see it so you can visualize. We created a spreadsheet where we're keeping up every single month, and we can go back into April when we actually started putting this on a spreadsheet for us. But it's interesting, Joey. You and I actually were teaching a group of entrepreneurs. I mean, a room full of people. I don't know. We had maybe 25 or 30 individuals in the room. There was a lot of star power, a lot of value in the room. And one of the things we showed is a graphic of how in August of 2020, our passive income was $3,500 for the month.
Yes, I do recall.
But you're laughing about that. $3,500 right now. If you got $3,500, as long as you are holding the steering wheel with one hand, put the other one up if you got $3,500 and wave at somebody, hit the horn and say, I got $3,500. Because I guarantee you, everybody you're passing right now on the road does not have $3,500 a month of passive income in it. In August of last year, 2020, that's how much we had. But in comparison to what we've done since then, it seems small.
It seems silly, but that's because the momentum had to be built. It's like the flywheel idea, right? You have to kind of put so much effort into those first few rotations, and then it kind of takes off from there. And that's what we've really experienced.
But when you see the growth, right? So April, May, June, July, August, now September, we're sitting here in September, and it was actually a down month for us. We brought in a little over $40,000 in passive income.
Net of everything. Yeah.
And I'm going to cry myself to my passive income pillow right now. Because I'm still going to sleep well knowing that we had $40,000 come in passive income.
That's true.
But there were some things that we had didn't go as great as it had in the past. And I want us to talk about this. But the one thing that is consistently crushing every single month is our land business.
That's right. It's the slow and steady, man. I think of it like the tortoise that is just constantly adding a little by little every single month, and it's completely hands off. But to me, it constantly gives me peace of mind to know that there's no regulation that affects the land business, right? There's nobody that's going to come in and say, hey, by the way, in our area, we don't allow people to buy and sell land. Right.
There's no HOAs to land flipping that I know.
Exactly.
And I think that is one of the things that I'm most impressed with our land flipping business is that it is consistent. It is a business where you can continue to buy land regardless of what's being sold at the time, because it is a commodity that will be needed and wanted by someone, right? I mean,
That's
we
right.
have bought property now for the last almost 2 years, and we have sold every single property other than obviously the ones that we bought recently. Like, we've
Right.
not had an
Inventory.
issue. Now, we've resold several.
That's right. Those that decided not to keep making the payments, they know that they're giving it right back to us, and we just turn
What's a
back
huge
and
win?
offer it to
Now,
the market.
before I go too much further, we had an event last couple weeks ago that I mentioned a second ago, our passive income retreat. And the purpose of that retreat was to talk about how do we get our passive incomes up to 100% and then move it to the next mark, which would be 200%.
200% of what?
200% of our monthly expense need.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
So if I'm spending $10,000 a month, I want to get to $20,000 a month of passive income. If I'm spending $5,000 a month, I want to get to $10,000 a month. Now, that is hard when we're at zero, right? The first goal for us, if we're at zero, is to get to 25%.
That's
right.
right.
So if I'm spending 10, I want to get to 2,500. If I'm spending 5, you're going to have to do the math yourself. You got to get to 1,250.
That's right.
But Joey, how many people in the room, people who made well into the 7 and 8 figures, how many people in the room were not at 100%?
Pretty much everybody.
Pretty much everybody, right? So the beauty of this is that it's not like, oh, well, poor is me that I'm not there, right? I'm the one falling behind. No, you're at the same position almost every single other person is at. You have a chance. This reason we share this every month, as you said a second ago, is to inspire, is to motivate, is to say that you can do it in many different places. I don't encourage you to go out and get, I don't even know how many businesses are on this page right now. I don't want to try to count it. I'm not telling you to go do all of these things. Find one, right? Right now, we're in the process of launching our short-term rental mastermind. It goes live next week. I'm sure we'll have one in the future. You'll probably want to take part in it. If you're listening to this after the fact, go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/STR-mastermind. You can sign up for the next one that's coming. It's important because it is the thing that each and every month brings in the most passive income that we have, even in what we would call down months. Right now, the month of September is not a great travel month, Joey. It's not a month where we get lots of people coming into our travel destination city of Birmingham, Alabama.
That's right. Travel destination. That's a good way of saying nobody comes here on purpose. They come because they have to visit family or for ball games or whatever. But yeah, I get your point.
But you're looking at this and you're saying, our business brought in roughly $60,000 of income in a down month.
It's hard to say that that's a down month.
Now, we had expenses, right? We run this business a little bit different than most people, meaning that we actually run it like a business.
Good point.
And here's the thing is that our short-term rental mastermind will teach you, 1, how to get it started, which is a job, and then 2, how to turn it into a business, which is the passive side of this.
Exactly.
Because when we use the word we a lot in relationship to these businesses, but very few are we involved in.
Good point. Otherwise, it couldn't really be on a passive income report.
It would be hard. Right. So when we're looking at the Wake Up in Birmingham, that's our short-term rental mastermind. That's our short-term rental business. I'm sorry. And you go to that website when you're traveling in Birmingham, because you have to be here, your family's here, you're passing through, and you want to just patronize the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast crew. Put the code podcast in the discount, and you will actually not only receive a 10% discount, but you actually get something pretty cool left inside the room.
Yeah, that does not include one of us personally. But
No.
but we will give you something really cool because we want.
There's nights that our wives may kick us out. We may be looking for a place to stay, but it's not required to let us stay there. But it is something it is a business that has produced in the month of September. What is that? 13.5 between the two?
No, 13.9, almost 14,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at last month. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. 13.5.
Thank you. Thank you.
So far we've covered the land. We had 88.12 in passive income from that business and 13.5 from the short-term rental business. What else we got on this report?
Well, here's a great question. It just came in live. I want to answer this. Is what happens to our income? What are we doing with this passive income? Are we spending it? Are we reinvesting it? What are we doing with the passive income? That's a great question.
Yeah. So in the land business in particular, we are constantly rolling that into reinvestment to buy additional land so that we can continue to ratchet up and compound on that money to create more cash flow quicker. We could start taking that as income now, but we would essentially be not refilling the kitty, so to speak, with additional inventory. And so there's a point, which Russ, you and I haven't probably even discussed exactly when this is. There's a point where we should be satisfied with the amount of cash coming in to the point where we could take withdrawals or distributions and allow the rest of it to continue to grow the business. But I don't think we've set that target yet. Have you?
Well, here's the thing is that you need passive income to cover monthly expenses when you don't want to go to work anymore, right?
Yes.
And I think that's the question that's different for each person, right? So when you ask that question, it would have to really be more reflective upon what you wanted. If you wanted to stop work immediately or cut back your work immediately, then you would start taking that income. Joey, other than every other 2 weeks, when is it that you don't want to work? Or should I rephrase it? When do you want to work?
Seriously, coming from the guy that just came back from a week off, I mean, I just don't think you got a lot to stand on right now.
I really don't. But that's the beauty is I wanted to get back. Like I'm driving 9 hours back from Orlando yesterday. And the only thing that I'm thinking about is I get to get on a podcast tomorrow. I get to talk to my friend Joey. I get to answer questions from Jeff and other people that I like. This is fun for me.
Yes.
Right. So the answer is we are not spending this money. We are either running it back into our insurance contracts, right? Because we're borrowing money against our life insurance policies to fund these different investments, or depending on the cycle, which in our land business is really fluid. And there's always properties to be bought. And we're just going out and taking that cash flow and just buying more properties as quickly as we can. Now, there's one thing that came out of our passive income retreat a couple of weeks ago, Joey, as it related to our land business. And that is you and I need to pony up some more money.
Well, it just makes sense, right? The kind of returns that we've been able to see within that land business are only going to be enhanced if we put more inventory behind it. Right. And we've just been kind of like moseying along, just allowing it to pay for itself and continue to grow. But man, what would another 50,000 into that business do for our passive income?
It would significantly accelerate. And I'm just sitting there like my takeaway was we were given these 30, 60, 90-minute takeaways, right? What were going to be our best 9 hours that we were going to spend after having gone through that event. And one of mine was get you and me on the phone with our land flipping group and send them more money.
Yes. That's an easy thing to do to affect that number to go up significantly. So 100% on that.
Here's another thing, Joe. I'm sitting there looking at, and just to give context for those who won't wait till the end of the show, I won't make you wait. Most people want to give context to, well, 40,000 a month in passive income. That's awesome, right? Most people have not put that together. But when you want to compare it, compared to what? So in order for me to compare it, I have to take that and multiply it times 12. If that was what our average was going to be, 484. I hope it's more than that because the last 2 months, our average was significantly higher than that. Right? We're not going backwards. But if that was just what it was, 484. If I took that 484 and I multiplied it times 33.33, that would tell me, Joey, that we would need $16,146,285 in an account to spit out on a reasonable, consistent basis over the next 20 years with a 100% probability of not running out of money, according to all the statistical math that fancy people like Wade Fowle and other people we've interviewed on our show have told us.
Right. So you're saying Wall Street's way, this is compared to what? Wall Street's way versus what we've been able to do.
Yeah. How long would it take us to come up with $16 million?
That's a lifetime number.
That's a big number,
right?
Have we put in $16 million in order to create $40,000 a month?
No, just shy of that.
Just shy of that. People ask all the time, how much have you put in? We've put in a little over $1 million.
Yep.
That's a good return on our investment, right? But what do we
I think of it as efficiency, Russ. It's like, if you want the kind of results we're talking about, you only have two options: Wall Street's way, or you can get educated, get invested in yourself, like finding out what kind of investor you are with our investor DNA, and then take massive action to create freedom today. Like, you're talking about $16 million. That's a never number for most people, but it's a lifetime number if it's anything for somebody else. And when do you want freedom to start? Today.
Yes. The answer is yes.
I just read this comment. It was so drawing, Joey. I wanted to share it. I realized that my time is not really mine. It's my company's. Now I have to stop negotiating my time for money, and I need to start working to become financially free. That's exactly how I felt when my daughter Adler asked me on the way to school, "Dad, can you pick me up from school today?" And I had to say, "No, baby, I have to go to work." That's where I drew the line.
In order for you to be clear on the things you need to do and stop doing, and to know who you need to become so that you can stop trading time for money, join us right now at wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/passport.
Now let's get back to this episode.
Well, I posted, I'm trying to find it on my phone. Of course, nothing ever happens in real time, right? But I posted inside the community something I read not too long ago where Robert Kiyosaki was commenting on the state of the market. And he said, again, he's no prophet, he doesn't have a crystal ball, but he's been pretty good with money. And here's Robert Kiyosaki's, I think, this is a Twitter post on September 26, 2021. It says, giant stock market crash coming in October. Why? ? Well, the Treasury and the Fed are short of Treasury bills. Gold, silver, Bitcoin may crash too. Cash best for picking up bargains after crash. I'm going to read the rest of it, but here's an interesting thing. We were talking about this recently. When people are selling, you should be buying. When people are buying, you should be selling, right? You should be going against the grain, because the world has never been right about anything. So you need to literally be looking for the trends of what the markets are doing so that you could do the opposite. Right. And what is the thing right now that everybody is selling?
Cash.
They're selling cash. They're selling in more specific, because some people would say, well, man, the fiat currency is a bad place to be. I'm trying my best to get my money in digital currencies like crypto. That's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm talking about they're buying everything they can possibly buy, because everything seems to be in a shortage. Everything seems to be backed up, back ordered. I've seen just in the last 2 weeks, people talking about, oh my goodness, you better buy Christmas presents now, because there are, there's so much supply that's being delayed. You might not have anything for Christmas.
Well, so what they're doing is giving up their access to cash, right? So you and I have been stacking cash for long periods of time. And in essence, that's what this business is doing, right? What we're doing with this passive income is creating alternate streams of income. So, a second ago, I made the comment that we're not spending. But here's the thing, is that we're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? I don't know. Our business could adjust, right? We could be one of the businesses that are negatively impacted by the next crash or whatever that is.
That's right.
Well, then the passive income would only supplement whatever income needs we had. So I could be turning this on. And the beauty of this is options, right?
Exactly.
This is what we're looking for is options. So I'm going to read the rest of Robert Kiyosaki's quote. He said, not selling gold or silver. He's talking about himself. He's not selling gold or silver or Bitcoin. He's got a lots of it, but cash for life after stock market crash, because stocks are dangerous. Be careful. Now, you and I know that. I mean, that's obviously what a great quote for us. Well, without Wall Street, there's nothing more Wall Street than stocks. But I think there's a lot of writing on the wall out there that people are seeing that we are not in an economic boom season. We're in a season where the Fed is printing money, going out of style. Yes. We're now creating shortages of things. And ultimately, that's going to only enhance the inflationary measures on the market, right? I mean, extra money in the market, less goods, all of that creates price increases.
Well, talk about what led to the issues in 2008. It was a housing bubble. What did you just explain? Inflation and all those things, and supply and demand of whatever they want to say it is today are all big bubbles that are just rising to the top. They've got to pop.
So here's the beauty, right? If you've been sitting on the side, you've been looking for opportunities to get passive, looking for opportunities to create alternatives to your stocks, passive income is such an amazing tool for this purpose. I think you're listening to this at the right time. Like you hopefully have been designing your insurance contracts to store cash, and you've hopefully been investing in yourself, like we've talked about with the Investor DNA, to know exactly where you should be investing. So if it's land, yes, we love land. We invest in land, and we encourage others. We think that is a great place to invest in yourself. Go to the Land Geek. Those guys are the best in the business at teaching people how to buy and sell raw land. We spent a couple days with them the other day. We're going to be with their group next week. There's a virtual boot camp in October. What's the date, Joey? It's like October 22nd through the 24th or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the fact that people can learn about how to do these boot camps through there. But then we'll always get, well, man, you guys are doing short-term rentals too. That seems super interesting. Why shouldn't I do that? Well, you need to know who you are as an investor. You need to know your profile. Because if you are not very hospitable, I was sitting here, Joey, earlier today. I spent a little time on the short-term rental stuff. I went, as you said, you noted that I was gone for 10 days, and I stayed in short-term rentals while I was gone. And as a part of that process, I was taking pictures of the short-term rentals I was in so that I could get our operator, Clint, who's teaching our course, to comment, to give some helpful ideas for those who may be interested in starting a short-term rental or even have them. And it was really fun for me to like nitpick this place. And then I went ahead and I wrote a review to the couple after giving them 5 stars. I didn't hammer them online. I wanted them to have their thing look well. But behind the scenes, I'm telling them, like, look, you screwed up with this queen size bed in the master bedroom. Like, you put a desk in there and 2 side tables. Well, I can promise you, my wife didn't care that she didn't have a place to put her phone down. She didn't like the fact that me and our 2 youngest kids were trying to sleep on a queen size bed. Now people would say, well, Russ, why did you have your 2 kids in the bed with you? Because that's what little kids do. They come and get in your bed in the middle of the night. Right? I mean, I could have locked the door on them, I guess, but that's where they
say, put a lock on that thing, man.
In a queen size bed, literally, Joey, for 10 days, I slept on 2 queen size in 2 different places. Stupid me rented 2 places without looking to see if they had a king size bed. I have not slept on a king size bed for that many nights in a row since I was living in my mom's house. It was brutal.
Yeah.
That was tip number 1. Buy a king size bed. If the place that you're wanting to put as a short-term rental doesn't have a room big enough for a king size bed, don't rent it. Don't get it. Get another place. Like, that was just a simple tip that came out of that. Well, that's the thing, is that in every one of our units, we've got 23, 24, I forget how many we got now. Every single one of them have a king size bed, at least one king size bed.
That's right.
All right, Joey, when we were at the event, at the retreat, we also had one of the foremost experts. I would put him in the top 1% of people in the world in knowledge and in actually practicing what he's preaching as it relates to the crypto world. He was talking about Bitcoin. He was talking about cryptocurrencies and its value. Well, you and I in our passive income report, we report on our Ethereum miners, our computers that mine the crypto. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So this month in particular, we were a little bit down, and I'm not 100% sure if that was just the price of Ethereum had dropped or if it was the efficiency of our miners. But this is the reality. When you have a mining computer, ours are a little over 3 years old at this point, and over time, the efficiency does drop. I actually did a quick audit of mine just a couple weeks ago, and found that they're still producing way more than it costs. So it's not bad. It's more than paid for itself over and over and over again. But the issue is that you maybe, need to continue to grow your mining kind of group and add additional computers over time. A lot of people ask us, well, who do you use for that? How do I get my hands on some of these miners? And the good news is that we're actually going to be opening up our passive income roundtable that for certain people that meet the criteria, we'll be able to share some of this information with you. But until then, just know that this is a strategy that we're using, and we have stopped. Just to Jeff's question earlier, what are we doing with that cash? Are we reinvesting it? Whatever. We've actually been banking that money into Bitcoin because we see the future of the currency, not seeing it as a cash flow as much as we could turn it into a cash flow immediately right now. We want to bank it into currency, and essentially we see it as trading our dollars that are losing value at a very, very rapid pace for digital currency that is growing considerably every single day.
Well, let me help you, my bearded friend, understand. I guess we should have had this conversation for plus play, but then that would not be like us in any shape or form to have done that much research ahead of time. Putting this spreadsheet together was the best thing we've done. The reason why our mining numbers were down in the month of September was definitely not down because of price, because you can go look at the price history and you can go, oh, wait a second. No, the numbers are up from where they were. Now, the very last part of the month, like the last, week, the numbers were a little bit down, right? So that accounts for a small smidgen. But here's the thing is that when crypto prices are going down significantly, what you have is that you will have actually will mine more cryptocurrency. But as a whole, for the majority of the month of September, prices were rising. And so you will actually mine less. There's more competition. It just makes sense, right? These machines require energy, and energy is expensive. And so there's rigs out there that are mining this that are old as dirt. And I know that you and I have computers that are 4 years old, which in the computer world is like most of the people I work out with, they're in their 70s and 80s, right? That's computer years to that stuff. But it's definitely one of those things where when prices are rising, we actually mine less of the currency. And one of the questions that has just been posed is, well, you guys are showing Ethereum. And for those who are not crypto nerds, like the three of us are, there's a thing called proof of stake or proof of work. And in the mining world, proof of work is how we are getting paid. That's how we're getting these little small transactional fees paid in the cryptocurrency Ethereum. Well, Ethereum has come out and said, well, we're going to move and we're going to change to proof of stake, which means that you're now going to have to take Ethereum that you have and stake it in order to then be a part of the system. So there will be a change. There's been a lot of speculation as exactly when that will happen. Whether will it be late this year or will it be early next year? And based upon other experiences of when Ethereum said things were going to happen, my guess is the latter, and maybe even latter than that. At some point, though, we will be adjusting. We will move to other currencies to mine. We'll just change over our computers to mine other currencies. So until then, right now, our computers are efficient. They're designed and tightened up for the protocols for Ethereum. But yes, we will be adjusting at some point if that truly happens, which we think it will. But when it does, we will make some adjustments. We've actually been looking, and Joey and I were making some big investment into Bitcoin miners. Another big name brand. We don't show that on here. We own that currency as well. We're not mining it. We have been exchanging our Ethereum for Bitcoin. We believe that probably will be one of the major currencies that the world will use in the future. Could be wrong on that, but there's a lot of smarter people than us who have proved us the reasons behind making that maybe a more accurate statement than I would have thought a year ago. But yes, I do see us making some adjustments. But here's the thing, Joey, like when I look at Ethereum miners, I look at our land business or Wake Up in Birmingham, our short-term rental businesses. All of those are just different businesses that we're running, each producing more some month, less some months, but they're all contributing to the bigger number.
That's right.
No different than our ATM business, right? Our ATM business kicked out another, $2,100 in cash flow. It was awesome. I saw a lot of people using ATMs machines when I was down in Orlando, and I was like, thank you. They didn't know why I was thanking them when I walked by. I was just like, thank you. And they're like, well, I don't understand. Like, just keep contributing, right? And I love it. I appreciate it. But there's other things that are on this list too. Like you mentioned before we press record that maybe your favorite is this new RV that you have.
Oh, yeah. Let me just say this. There's nothing cooler than going on a big RV trip with your family and having the freedom to do it because of this report. By the way, you and I look at this report, and that's one of the things that I can point to and say, I would have never taken a 22-day round the country trip with my family if we had not built this passive income. That is a tangible thing that I can point to that I can't tell you how many people I told that we went on this trip. And you know what their response was to me, Russ?
What?
I've always wanted to do something like that. And you know what the question that I didn't ask, but I knew would make them kind of squirm a little bit is, why haven't you done it? And the reason is they don't have the freedom to do this. Their job, their business, whatever it may be, is holding them hostage from this kind of a freedom that they want so badly. And so I'm sharing this to inspire you to say, man, this is a why. This is a big reason behind why we do what we do is to provide freedom. And so the point is I was going to rent an RV to do that trip. And as I looked into the cost of doing it, I said, wait a minute, why don't I just buy one and then figure out on the back end how to turn it into an asset, not just a liability? And little did I know, in my backyard, there's a company that is overlandadventurerentals.com. You can look them up. They have a fleet of RVs and campers and little, tents that pop up on top of little trailers and things like this that they rent. They already have all the systems in place. They already have the manpower and the mechanics to keep these things rolling on the road. And they needed a large RV because they kept getting requests for things that can sleep more than 6. Of course, my RV sleeps 10. And I said, man, we'd love to consign that with you and us just share expenses and share the profits. And man, it came back. We came back from our trip literally the weekend before Labor Day. And by Thursday, before Labor Day, they rented it to somebody for 5 days. It came back for a couple of days. It was gone for 2 weeks. And a little bit later after that, it was rented for another like 5 or 6 days to go to Talladega Raceway. I'm talking about, I got all kind of cool stories we can share about who's rented this thing. But this is Cousin Eddie, the RV. And last month, in the very first month, it's debuting. It made $53.15 in revenue. It cost $28.87 in terms of management fees and any other expenses. So it netted $2,428 in its
All right,
very
so
first month.
let me ask a question. So was that a full month or a partial month?
That's a full month. But the way that we've done the accounting on it is if somebody starts a trip at the end of a month and it goes over into the next month, I don't get paid on it until that next month's kind of shored up. And so I had it rented the end of September through the very first weekend in October. I haven't even seen the revenue for that yet.
So here's the question, and I see one of our community members talking about how they've already got it rented for 8 nights coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And I have also booked the Cousin Eddie for a couple of nights at the beginning of November. So I'm going to have it pretty soon as well. Here's what I want to know, and this is what someone else is wanting to know. What'd you pay for it?
So the whole RV brand new was about $100,000.
Okay. If you would have rented it for the 22 nights that you were gone, how much was it going to cost?
It was somewhere around $8,000.
Okay. So let's just say you got 92 in it, right? Because those first $8,000 is what you were going to spend anyway.
Right.
You with me?
Yep.
All right. So 92,000. And did the people who rented it think that the last month in September was a good month, average month, bad month?
It's about average.
About an average month. Okay, so we take 92,000, we divide that by 24.28. That tells me that in 37 months, it's paid for itself.
That's right.
And any time after that, that's just money just in the pocket. Or if you sold it before then, clearly you could sell it, whatever its value is of what you sold it minus what you've put in it, shows you how much money you've made.
That's right.
And what's your expectation? How many years can you rent this thing for?
I think by the end of 3 years, it's going to be close. I mean, I don't know. I have really no context here, but I'm guessing.
You just made that up. You sounded so certain, and then you're like, "But I really don't know."
Well, I have no idea how long these things last. I know.
Well, you know, some of these RV websites. I was talking to a guy when I was down in Pensacola, and I was telling him that I was going to rent your RV. He's like, "Oh yeah, we rented an RV. We went, out west, went up to South Dakota, Montana, just telling me all these great stories." And I was like, "Cool. How was he?" He's like, "It was great." He said, "Don't." And I showed him a picture of yours. He goes, "Yeah, ours was not quite that new. Ours, we rented it maybe 5 years ago, and it was a 1995 model." So that thing had been on the road for a minute, man.
Yeah, no, I know it could go longer than that. But what I'm saying is for it to be as attractive as it is, you got to keep these things up. It's kind of like, do you keep the furniture in a short-term rental forever? No, you change it out at some point. And now, granted, that's about a 6 or 7 year time frame. In this case, I know it could go 6 or 7 years, in my opinion, easily. But I'm kind of in my brain saying I got 3 good years with this.
Some homework, okay?
Okay.
We're going to give you some homework for the next passive income report. You got to actually go do some research and determine at what point should you take Cousin Eddie and put him in pasture. When does he get off the race circuit and he moves on to the pasture?
I'll find that out.
Because really, if I'm thinking about buying an RV, or if I have an RV and I want to know like how profitable it's going to be, like you're my stinking guinea pig, bro. Let's go.
I'm about to blaze the trail here.
All right. Well, we've got to wrap this up. If you're not watching this on YouTube, go back and watch it on YouTube. You can see all the line items of each and everything we did this month. We brought in a little over 100,000, literally $100,001, which is cool. And spent almost 59,000, a little over 59,000. So our net passive income for the month of September of 2021 was $40,369 and 75 cents. All right. I hope this was entertaining, but hopefully it was informative. And even more importantly, I hope that it was motivational because you got to take action. Listening to us goofballs talk all day long is not getting you closer to financial freedom. You got to take action. Go get busy. As always, thank you for listening. Have an amazing day.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.